Hello, loves. I want to talk about something. Wait, I'm just going to say so I'm not blocking the mic. That would be a bit funny. I am in the feminine vibes and the luteal phase and just kind of taking things very slowly and noticing how good my body feels and then how easily I do my work, how easily I receive insights and ideas and take action, and that just from this incredibly boom, I do one thing and then oh, how powerful that was. And it's made me think about a subject and kind of clarified something that I'm very excited to begin a discussion around, that I will be talking about in my upcoming courses as well. But that can be a bit difficult to hear for some people. I think it would be for me a couple of years ago, but also some relief, because I think we need to start talking about this, and that is the topic of performative spirituality. I'm gonna try to do this in a feminine way. Actually, I'm bringing something quite fiery, which activates my masculine. But I'm gonna experiment now and see if I can bring it from a place where I don't go up in my head, but I stay really rooted in my body and in my calmness and juice. I want to talk about performative spirituality. So spirituality is a very wide, what is spirituality, one can discuss, but there is this trend of having different concepts that used to be spoken about in specific spiritual communities and religions and those kinds of and shamanic traditions, all those kinds of areas, they've come into the mainstream, and things like healing and life purpose and energetics and manifestation and aliveness and sexuality and all of those things are coming into the mainstream and being talked about a lot more, which is super cool. It has been it's not one thing, but it's been a liberator for me, this world, and it's brought me many new ways of seeing things that have been my way out of the matrix way of seeing the world. So I'm incredibly grateful for the world of spirituality, and I think we all go on our specific journey into it. And there are a lot of things you can talk about here. We can how we still stay in the matrix as we go into the spiritual world. We can talk about how we make spirituality our new authority and start following the rules and the shoulds there, and it's it's just taking what we've done before and just putting a new face on it. But that's not what I want to talk about today. Today I want to talk about, like I said, performative spirituality. I'll bring us back to my before. I have been aware of the world of spirituality since I was quite young, maybe 9, 10, because I loved reading, and my mom had some books in her bookcase about past lives and spiritual healing, Deepak Chopra. And I was so curious, and I started just looking at them. I looked at many other books too, but them also. And it was very interesting to me. But there the fact is, I've known about the spiritual world since I was 9. I'm 25 now. I can honestly say I started applying what I was learning when I was 17, and honestly, like, living by what I was learning that felt right and true for me since 2-3 years ago. Because I was in this place where I see a lot of people come into when they come into spirituality is that they are saying the spiritual things, are able to intellectualize about spiritual concepts and discuss them and talk about them like they get it, and maybe they actually do. Like, I think I really believe that I did get it, and they're doing the practices, the exterior things you're supposed to do in some regards, but they are not, their auras becoming very spiritual, but that's how I see it. Their auras, their frequencies stay very similar, and you can see that in what they keep attracting kind of the same things. That's what I did, you know. I say they, but I really mean us. You can see that the frequency is still kind of the same because their life circumstances doesn't change too much. Their levels of relationships don't change too much. It can be small, really cool and really important improvements, but it's not like it's not that it quantum leaps. It's not like it becomes this big shift that we experience something completely new that we've never done before. It's just about learning these concepts but then staying in the same frequency. And another place you can see that in the way the reality around them, and I could see that in the way I was still experiencing the same kind of things over and over again, and having the same kinds of thoughts and feelings and attracting the same kind of people, but also with some differences, of course. But also in my reactions. I think that's a cool way of seeing it. My reactions to things, to people, to experiences stay the same. I think that is an important shower. Our reactions can say a lot about where we're really at. We can talk about spiritual things, we can do the morning routines of spiritual people, but if our reactions in the moment are the same, we're still staying in the same frequency, in the same way of being. And I believe the purpose of spirituality, what spirituality really is the journey of becoming who you really are. And that means the journey of becoming who you uniquely are. So becoming more and more the revolutionary you are, all the ways you are different from other people, making them shine brighter. And then dismantling all these ways you thought you had to be. There's a lot to say about spirituality, but I really wanna, I just thought about this and I started talking about it, but I really want to bring this up. It's something we can think about and talk about more, performative spirituality, because it really is a thing. And I believe the reason why so many people are in this space of, you know, it's on the exterior, but it's not like in the depths, and it's not creating shifts, is that because their nervous systems and their bodies are still feeling so unsafe. And I remember how I used to, I wanted to find my life's purpose. I wanted to know what my, soul mission was. I wanted to know my deep why. All of these are very like soul territory. But I couldn't go to sleep, and I woke up with anxiety, pounding heart every morning. And a lot of situations and a lot of my own emotions caused my nervous system to go into that's what happened, into fight or flight, into an activated place. And now when I do live, and today is just an example of that, I do live in a place where my default is a regulated nervous system, where I'm much more calm and relaxed and centered, and I feel nourished and I feel safe much more often than I don't. And I used to live in the complete opposite. I used to feel much more unsafe than I felt safe. So many situations, so many experiences were unsafe. And I realize now, when that is the reality, it's like the ground, and I think I'm not the first one to say this analogy, but it's like a grounded body has an antenna for the soul to be received through. It's like it makes the soul be able to come through, be here. It's a bit of a weird analogy, because I do believe that the soul is always present, but it's like the soul inside, communication with the soul is impossible, and thereby connection, not impossible, but much, much harder when that antenna is crooked or just not there, because the whole body is in danger mode. So I really want to bring that, like, we're already coming to that, and it's so cool. Like, transformation is happening so quickly now for us, and of course these are new territories of humanity. We've never on this scale embodied these spiritual teachings that we've known for a long time as a human, as a collective. Sorry, this is a bit hard. So it makes sense that we're not like getting it perfectly on the same time, and it's cool how already there is this kind of counter movement of, okay, let's come into our body, let's not spiritually bypass, let's not be performative in our spirituality. But I don't see maybe everyone talking about it in this kind of I haven't seen this being talked about too much, and I really want to bring this more into, because I'm going to be speaking a lot about spirituality and about, soul and all that areas to that territory of life, that aspect area of life. This needs to be said too, that this is a very common pattern that people go into. I believe that you understand them intellectually, you understand these concepts, and you maybe rush towards these concepts before you have the basics of a safe, nourished, safe body. And yeah, how sexy and important that process is. It's not this, oh, now I have to get unregulated nervous system so I can be like, no, let's create the most juicy experience of life you can have through having a body that is thriving. And how important, like, make that your most important focus before you want to manifest all the money and step into your life purpose and have soulmate love and unleash your gifts into the world. Start with a nourished body. Start with learning about your body and learning about your nervous system and your specific needs, and then do the alchemical work, the inner work, which I will lay out in my process. There are so many different ways to do this, but I will lay out my process in my upcoming course, The Alchemist, of how of how and because I've talked about this in other videos, and this coming into a regulated nervous system for me had so much to do with healing my trauma and healing my fears around my inner world and coming to a place of power in my inner world. And we'll go into that deeper, but it is such a cool and important place to start. So I want to take that. I see that as the nervous system aspect as one of the main reasons why we come into this performative as spirituality thing, where we just loop in the same reality and we don't actually shift, and we stay in the same reactions and we stay in the same kinds of levels of conversations, and there is this stagnation. I also say it's because we have a weak adult in us. What do I mean with that? We still live like we are small children, dependent on our environment, not able to take responsibility, radical self-responsibility for our life and for our experience of life. We are maybe codependent on other people to give us emotional sustenance, nourishment. We get to be so in connection and in love with people, but we will never feel that sense of safety and the sense of I think it comes down to safety with this, to the adult in us. If we don't have the adult awake in us, and if we're not living as the adults we are when we are adults, not when we are children, not when we are teenagers, when we are adults, we will not feel safe. And that is a journey too, and that is a journey I will talk more about as well, and that I have a whole course about as well. But that is also, the adult is the part of us that says, okay, this needs to happen. I need to do this. I need to be this. This is where I need to focus now. Okay, I want soulmate love. How am I in my relationships? All of my relationships. Am I really a person that, am I the soulmate to me? Like, would I want to be together with me? Willingness to ask these kind of radical responsibility questions, these kind of, harder questions that we don't have to rush to. If our inner children are still and leading us and feeling unsafe a lot of the time, we start there. We start with our inner child, and or maybe not start with our inner child, but we focus there, and we work on the awakening the adult at the same time, and it's this dance between. I'm just babbling. No, I'm not babbling, but it's a cool subject, and I see those things, that the adult not being awakened and the nervous system, like, ultimately not us feeling safe, as one of the biggest reasons why we learn about the spiritual things, we talk about them, we do the things, but we're actually not reaping the benefits of these teachings, because the benefits are profound and incredible and big, and there's nothing wrong with you if you're not really experiencing them, not at all. It's not like, oh yeah, you're not meant for soulmate love, or you're just not meant to live in abundance and have money, more money than you thought was possible, and you're just not meant to have your work be your thing that you love more than anything. Like, that's not it at all. It just meant that you might be rushing to focus on that when your body and your being and your life is asking you to start somewhere else. Start with the basics, and then all of these things will come, and it will come so easily and beautifully, and in a way that just feels so good. It was so hard for me, because I really believed that you had to do your way to the life you wanted to live. You had to act, you had to push. Sometimes you had to be this badass who just did all the things, and it was a very important and humbling and fun experience to realize, like, things really started to happen for me when I learned those things that everyone talks about, and I'm like, but I don't have time for that. Like, when I learned how to rest, when my nervous system became regulated, when I started feeling emotionally, energetically safe in so many more situations than I ever did before, when I felt safe in me, in this world, when I didn't listen to that productivity thing we have, that we need to be productive all the time, when I started realizing, well, really, when I relax, I want to read like young adult romantic novels and watch animated movies, and I love dog memes on Instagram. They make me feel so good and relaxed, and like doing my makeup and all of these things that I thought were just, I'm just wasting my time, and I'm just, how they have now nurtured how I'm like, I do feel like I'm not, what I am working with right now, what I am bringing to the world, I'm not compromising at, like, it is what gives me such joy and such a sense of excitement and acceleration and fulfillment, like, and it just landed like, it's not that I went and researched and read lots of books that made me, it just came like that. One day I was like, I'm gonna do this, and this, and it's gonna be called this. And then I started writing, and I don't work many hours. I get that now, how it works. Like, I don't work many hours, but then I, write a whole course in an hour. I don't know how that works, like how it's possible, but it is. And yes, I do understand how it is possible, because that's how we play now, when we're playing in the soul frequencies as humans. It's cool. It's cool, and it's fun, and it's a journey, and of course there are still areas in my life where I'm still learning to not, to apply these spiritual concepts and actually first, come into a regulated space. It's an ongoing process, and it's fun, and it's not that hard. It just needs focus and devotion to it, like everything else in life. So that is what I'm sharing today. A bit edgy, a bit like ooh, but important to bring. Thank you for listening.